Hi, I'm Ty Adronis with TestPilotRC.com, and this is the first segment of a series on MyRC Designs. And this segment is on the design phase. What is MyRCDesigns.com? MyRC Designs is a place where you can get CAD software, computer-assisted design software, for free. Design your own aircraft and send them the design, and they will laser cut the parts for you. They will print your graphics on vinyl for you and ship it all back to you for you to put together. Which is a pretty cool idea. So when I say computer-assisted design or CAD software, a lot of people are probably going to get freaked out. But you don't have to be an engineer to use it. My education is in special effects, so I'm no engineer. But I was able to really make a pretty cool aircraft that we're calling the Bad Wolf using this design software. I'm going to show you in this segment how you can use a few basic tools in this CAD software to design your own aircraft. You don't need to use all the super complex tools or booleans or any of that stuff. And if you understood what a boolean is, you will probably have no problem with the software, and you can just skip to the next video. But if you're not sure, watch this video. This is how to design an aircraft using the software from MyRCDesigns.com.
Hi, this is Ty Adronis with TestPilotRC.com, and this is the review for MyRC Design. What it is this is custom design software so that you can create your own plane. So first off, I'm going to show you what plane I created, and then I'm going to show you how I did it. So let me open it up. And this is the TPRC-1, also known as the Bad Wolf. So here is what the plane is going to look like, and it has air directors on it and side force generators, very, very large control surfaces, and you can see the template for how it's cut out. It also has a carbon fiber strip going through the wing to add some strength to it, and a plywood firewall to mount the motor to. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at how this kind of design is created. Okay, so you start off in MyRC Design with just blank graph paper and a blank screen over on the left side. And this is your drawing area. This is where you're going to make your templates and all that good stuff. And let's talk about some of the basic tools first. You can zoom out, you can zoom in, and we'll go over some of the basic drawing tools as well. This software is actually really well designed, but it is definitely, something that people with an engineering background will be better at using than someone without such a background, or maybe 3D animation or something like that. But there's some basic principles to this. You just have to know your materials, and you have to know how they fit together. So you can see your rulers, and this is in inches across the top and the side. And so I'm going to start off with some basic drawing tools, and these are really the only tools that you need in order to create your plane. Once you create this plane, then it's you ship the design off to MyRCDesign.com. They cut it for you and ship you the plane. So here are the tools along the right side, and you can see different shapes, and this is, the polygon line and the edit points. Now everything in three-dimensional space, believe it or not, is made out of polygons. So back to high school geometry we go, right? You can create a multi-point polygon by just clicking on this button right here, and with it you can create the basic outline of your plane. So what I'm going to do is, before I actually do that, I'm going to turn on my snap. And what snap is that means that when I click, it's actually going to line up on the lines of the grid instead of just in random space. And that'll help me create really nice symmetrical shapes and very straight lines. So this is the button to snap to the grid, and I'll create the basic outline of an airplane's main fuselage. So we're going to go across the front. We'll go, 4 inches. Then we'll start making the canopy. Canopy will come all the way back here, And then remember that the tail is not just the flat surface of the tail, but you have to add a rudder onto it as well. So you don't really need to make the tail very, very big at all. You can just, and you can see this is an artifact. That line isn't actually there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to about here and line it off. And remember, you're going to want to make space for your elevator to go up and down. You don't want to have to put 2 servos in because that'll add extra weight. So your elevators need to be connected. So what I'm going to do is create this little V right here so that when my elevator moves up and down, there's a space for it to move in. And then come back over this way. Come through here, and there's my annoying phone telling me I've got email, and then create basic outline right here, come up, and we're going to leave space for a motor. I'm going to leave 1.5 inches there. And then double clicking closes the shape. Okay, so there's our basic shape, and that's not a very good looking profile to the plane. So when we want to edit multiple points, this is the edit points tool. So then clicking on edit points, then I can come over, click on a point, it turns red, and then I can change its location. One little thing that I've noticed with this software is that when you want to make sure your shape is closed, there we go. You have to manipulate the end point in some way, and now the shape is closed. So move this point back, and you can see how it's snapping to the grid. So everywhere that I move this point, it snaps to the grid. What I'm going to do next is, I don't like the way that this is a very harsh line. So I'm going to click on this point right here, and you can see how this whole line is highlighted. And then I'm going to convert that to a curve. And then you get these nice handles. So you can kind of manipulate your curve a little bit. Oops. Grab this handle now. And I'm actually going to convert this one to a curve also. And there we go. Now we have a nice bulbous canopy that sweeps back. And then same thing, I'm going to convert this to a curve. There we go. Now we have a nice swept in deal. Okay, so that's the basic drawing tool. You know, and so there's a few parts that you're going to want to be really familiar with when you're designing a plane. The main parts are going to be your cruciform, which is basically the part that goes horizontal. Of course, you have your wings, your ailerons, your elevator, your horizontal stabilizer, your vertical stabilizer, aka rudder and elevator that don't move. And so you're going to need to draw all that stuff out too. But how do these parts link up? Just for the fun of it, I'm going to go ahead and create a basic cruciform, just really quick, just knock something out. And so what you're going to do is you're going to do it in 2 halves, and it helps to do it right below so that you can line everything up. So the motor mount will be right about there, and this goes straight on back to right where the elevator will rotate. Okay, then this will come out, and this will be the stationary part of the elevator, not the part that actually rotates. So it's really just the vertical stabilizer, and we'll do that and that. And come up to where the wing is going to be, and you don't want your aileron to be like right up against your plane because you want some of the wind to be able to move past the wing and hit the elevator when you're flying in 3D. So we're going to give it about an inch of space here, and then a cutout for the elevator, or I mean the aileron. And then come on up here for the end of the wing. And that's a pretty lame looking wing, but whatever. Okay, so now we've got this cut out for the cruciform. It's not quite straight, so I'm just going to straighten it out real quick. Grab this point, move it down there so it's nice and straight across. I don't like this wing, so I'm going to bring it back to the canopy. Remember, the wing is actually going to be way out here because the aileron is out here. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to go ahead and make an aileron as well. And I'm going to do it right next to this. And so I'm going over 1/10 of an inch just so that I can, or 2/10 of an inch, so that I can draw it, oh, that's 1/10 of an inch, draw it to where it will match up nicely. Notice how I also went 1/10 of an inch past there, and I'm 2/10 of an inch down. So I'm going to go 2/10 of an inch down from here. And I'll make it nice and swept forward like that. Come on over here, and there's 1/10 of an inch right there, and then double click, and we've got a closed shape. Okay, so there's our aileron, and that's what's going to be moving. I'm not going to bother drawing out all the points of the aircraft because it's not really important for you to see how I design an aircraft. What's really important for you to see is how everything links together. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to convert these into shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is this guy is our tree of all the objects that we create inside of our design area. And so this shape, I'm going to name it the main fuse. Then I'm going to select this shape, name this one the Cruciform 1. Then I'll grab this shape and name this the main aileron. Okay, so we've got ailerons, we've got a cruciform, we've got a main fuse. Now what we need to do is figure out how all this stuff is going to join together. So what we use in this software is virtual pins. The pins aren't actual pins. You're not going to be shipped like some metal pins to stick it together. No, what you're going to need is you're going to need like to show how it links onto the airplane. And what you're really going to probably want is you're probably going to want to add points. Where's the... here we go. If you just use the point tool and whoa, I have a fly buzzing my head. Okay, so if we just use the selection tool, select points tool, if we right click in here we can add a point. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create tabs. Now it's about 2/10 of an inch, a 6mm Depron. So what we're going to do is we're going to create little tabs. And so I'm going to create a 1/10 of an inch tab here. And the reason why I'm doing it 1/10 instead of 2/10 is because it's going to have to meet in the middle with the other side of the cruciform. So I'll add another point. Make sure that one's lined up on the line. And add another point. And bring this guy right over here. Okay, and you can see you probably want to add a few of these tabs all the way back so that it meshes up really nicely with the plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a pin to the plane and a pin to the cruciform so that the software knows and so that the people that are cutting this can use the joint tools in the right spot, and we can actually join this up and see how it looks in 3D. So what I'm going to do is this tool right here is to make a pin. And it's really important to get the direction right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up with this joint, and I'm going to put the pin down right here because that's about the center of the motor mount, and I'd really like my pin to be in the center of the motor mount. So I'll put this pin right about back to here, and I'm going to name this Cruciform pin 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to join this to the main fuse by make a part with shape. And so this part is going to be the fuselage. And I am a terrible speller. I hope I spelled that right. Okay, so now you can see it's collapsed it into this part called the fuselage. Now same thing, on this cruciform I'm going to need to add a pin also. So I go up to my pin tool, and right even with where it's going to line up with the fuselage, or actually in the center of the fuselage, I'm going to add another pin right here. And we'll call this fuse joiner. But wait, there's more. Okay, so wherever you're going to add other parts on, you're going to need more pins. So for instance, you would need one on your elevator, you need one on your rudders and all that good stuff. I'm going to show you how to do that with the aileron. So I'm going to take this pin and I'm going to put it right here, and whoops, that's the wrong spot. Cancel that. I'm actually just going to put it right in at the end. That'll make it nice and easy. There we go. We'll call this Aileron joiner. Then I'll put another pin on the actual control surface. And remember, 2/10 of an inch down. And we're going to call this one Ail Control. Okay, so we've got some pins here. You're going to need more parts, obviously. You're going to need a firewall. You're going to need, you know, the rudder, all that good stuff. And we'll get more into that a little bit later when I show you exactly how the Bad Wolf was designed. But if we take the Cruciform and we also take the fuse joiner and the aileron joiner, then we can take and make a part out of that and call this the Cruciform. Then we take the main aileron and the aileron control and we make a part with that and call that one the ail control surface. Okay. So now we've got parts. Let's just pretend that we've got our rudder, we've got our elevator, we've got everything else. Let's go ahead and put it together in 3D space. So what we're going to do is go to 3D components, and we're going to add a flat stock component. So we're going to choose all of our materials that are possible. These are all the materials that you can get from my RC Design. So I'm going to select 6mm Depron, and the part is going to be the fuselage. And the connection, there's no connection because it's a master. There's nothing that it's going to be assembled to yet. No intersections, no flight physics yet, because you can export these models over to Clearview and actually test fly them around before you invest the money in having them sent to you. And I'm going to make the color of this thing blue just so that it stands out. Say OK. Oh, bad component name. So I didn't actually name the component. Okay, so we'll call this the fuse. Okay. So we have a fuselage, except it's laying on the wrong plane. So one of the things that's really important with the fuselage is to make its rotation, I think -90 is correct. And I'll say OK. I think it's -90. Let me double check over with the other one real quick, because it's been a little while since I actually designed this. I'm going to save this as the demo. And I'll open up the extreme. So the fuselage is rotated to -90. That's correct. Okay. Let's go on back. Demo. Okay. So there's our fuselage. Okay, so now how to connect up a control surface or a cruciform. So we'll add a flat stock component. That flat stock component will be a cruciform. The connection will be, or the fuse joiner connection. We're going to use the fuse joiner to the fuselage on the cruciform pin right in the middle, and let's just see how it lines up. Oh. Cruciform left, and boom, it needs to be rotated. Looks like it's in the right spot, but it needs to be rotated. Okay, so oh, that's the fuselage back here. Oh, cancel, open this up. Rotation of 90 degrees. Okay. Well, it turns out that went to the right. So let's make it go to -90 degrees. Okay. So there's one cruciform. And you can see, because we put the pins in, it knew right where to put it. Now we can put one on the other side too. Let's click here, add another flat stock component, and we'll call this cruciform right. We'll use the cruciform, use the fuse joiner connection to the fuselage on the cruciform pin, and rotate this one to the 90 degrees, and then OK. And wow, that didn't work at all. What's going on? Connection. Let's, oh, because I connected it to the aileron joiner. Use the fuse joiner. Say OK. Now the cruciform is on there properly. So this is a really cool way for you to see how your stuff is gonna look. So it's really also important on these guys to say that they are glued and not hinged, just so that just to remove any doubt that these are not control surfaces. These are actual fixed components. So glued, okay. Alright, so now we've got that. Now we can throw ailerons on it the same way. So you select what you're going to be sticking it to, and this is going to be on the left cruciform. Add a flat stock component. And let's make sure, did I use the right material for these guys? Nope, I didn't. 6mm Depron, that's what I want. Okay, there we go. 6mm Depron. Okay. Then add another flat stock component. This one's going to be also 6mm Depron. Connection pin. Let's say that we're going to use the control surface. Pin is going to be L control. Then we're going to use component will be cruciform left. The pin will be the aileron joiner. This is going to be hinged, so you can go 45 in each direction. And let's see how it lines up. So, L left. Where did it go? Depron, L control surface, control pin. You know what? I bet it's inside of the L control. So let's try this. Let's rotate it 90 degrees just to see where it's at. Yep. So we got to rotate that sucker 180 degrees. Okay. Wow. And it disappeared again. Connection. Rotation 0. Oh, there it is. For some reason it just didn't appear the first time. But there you have the control surface, and it is put on the airplane, and then all you have to do is just kind of mirror that process for the other side. And you'll probably, want to put carbon fiber strip through the center, all that good stuff. So let's take a look at mine to see how a real plane is designed. So this is the sheet, and this is the plane. And let's go through the parts real quick. Okay, so we've got the main fuselage, and it is right here. And you can see the pin, along with the pin for the Cruciform. And then you can see there is a strip of carbon fiber. So here we are, 6mm CF strip, and you can always put that in. And you can see the huge control surfaces. There is a firewall, and the firewall, you can see they have it set as Depron, but I asked them to go ahead and make that out of plywood for me because I wanted to put a fairly powerful motor in it. You can see these air directors are actually, see, that's one half. They're actually two halves. I'll show you the original design for those air directors. The Extreme 3D Step 3. Okay. Plane looks pretty much the same, except I had cut a lot of holes in it to show where joints were going to be and all that. And it was originally one piece with these really thin lines going in. And the laser cutter that they use can't actually utilize thin lines because it will just vaporize the foam, and you're going to end up with something really ugly. So we managed to accomplish the same thing by making it two pieces and not having anything super narrow. But you can see this is the design for the Bad Wolf, and so the next step is to send off the design to myrcdesigns.com and have them fabricated. So I will be back with you for the test flight of the prototype of the Bad Wolf. This is Ty Adronis with testpilotrc.com, and this is the review for MyRC Designs.